but I don't have that. Well, I've got some good stuff put together actually. For those of you who may not know me, I am Kirsch Mackey. I am the host for this quick little meeting. Okay, we've got people in. Oh, Yuri is back. Okay. We've got, I am a former, I used to work in, how do I say? I guess I'll introduce myself. So currently, I am the owner at a company named Hasofu, which is a portmanteau for hardware, software, community. All right, just so you know, all know who I am. And hello, we got Canada over here. Okay, we got people from Canada. Three people from Canada? No, okay, two. Okay, good to see you. And the reason I'm hosting this meeting is so that I give you the tea in terms of how to get hired, like the full strategy. So there's a lot to put in here, and I know your time is very valuable, so I'm not gonna go more than the hour. I'll try not to. All right. Before I get started, because it's going to be a tight schedule, is there any pressing question we have? And also, I'll stick with that one question. I'll tell you after this question. So, is there any pressing question we have before I get into what's the process, the code that has been cracked when it comes to getting hired, getting interviewed, and getting hired? There's a lot of stuff to cover. Okay. And before I get into that, does anybody have any particular thing that they wanted to share? Like what, since we don't have a million people on here, I think I can quickly ask a few of you, maybe all of you, what is your goal that you want to, what is your thing you want to get out of today's meeting? Okay. We'll go in order. Starting with, I'm going to go in order. I see Sainesh Solanki, or anybody who wants to volunteer that. But we'll go in order. I'll give you a few seconds. How to market yourself better. Okay, great. That's a great point. I wonder if they have a questions thing. Well, it's not a webinar, so they don't. How to market myself better. Okay, great. We're going to get into that. What does it even mean to market yourself? Because they give these. Here's the thing that upsets me, pisses me off. Okay, sorry for the. Um, Despite my public persona, I am not uh, the nicest person when I'm upset. Nothing specific, just take it all in. Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. John, anything in particular? John Hafer, I believe. Anything in particular you want to get out of this meeting today? Okay. How to convince folks to get into hardware slash software. Interesting. From software. Very, very interesting. Okay. How to convince? I don't know if you'd be able to convince them. Hardware is hard. Okay. I was just talking to an electrical engineer, a very elite. Okay. Silicon Valley. I mean, they've been in, oh, wait, let me make sure they're not in the meeting. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Um, and they've got, I mean, I'm talking, they, the person and I were talking, we were talking like, 160 is kind of low. And, for the Bay Area, if depending on your level of experience. And so we're looking at and talking about hardware roles that are in the 225K, 250K range. We're talking like data scientist money, right? And there tends to be a cap in double E. Okay. So data scientists and software people with all the money to be making in RSUs, I've seen the conversations. They know they're not missing out on anything when it comes to hardware and electrical, unless they just really want to. How to match my resume to job description, how to pass ATS. Got you. I definitely got you, Veteran Deep. Okay, how to match my resume to job description. Okay, we're gonna cover all that. Let me see, do I cover that in the, yep. How to pass the ATS. Mm, yep. How do I tailor my resume match as hidden alignment signals in vague job posts? Ah, got you. Ah, okay. So Yaroslav, when the job post is vague, you're trying to figure out, yo, how do I align to anything if the job post doesn't give me information, right? Fair enough. I have a trick for that. Well, aside from skipping those, well, I set up my LinkedIn to where I get multiple recruiters reaching out to me daily for the past 4 years. Okay. And this is after not having been able to get any attention from companies, especially not my dream company, which is Apple, for 8 years. Well, not any attention. I would say very minimal. Okay. Like radio silence for multiple years. Applying to the either the applicant dark hole. I did get a couple of interviews and they would have led to offers, but I was an international student at the time and you had to be a US person, all right? So, but it was just abysmal, atrocious, terrible. How do you stand out from other applicants? Well, I'll, I almost kind of want to answer these questions first before I even get into the framework. To quickly answer these so you can get what you came for, and then we can get into the stuff. Anybody else? In fact, drop this. I'm going to start teaching. I'm going to start preaching, okay? And then you drop in your questions as we go. I've noted down your questions so far. Okay, let's get going. We are 309 in. Let's do it. All right, so let me answer each of these questions. And then when I show you the reasons why and the process, you'd be like, wow, okay, cool. So the first question is how to market myself better? Okay. The principle of marketing is you to be a good marketer, you need to speak the language that the okay, in marketing, you have your customer who has a problem and they need a solution. All right. So the first mindset shift is to if we're thinking about how we think about companies, companies are customers. They are not companies. They are not institutions. They are a an entity that has thousands and thousands of people and tens of hundreds of people that has different solutions that has made it, and they have different problems. Most companies to be successful in the US, only about some fraction of 5% of those businesses are successful. Of the successful companies you're seeing around in US, Canada, wherever, they got to where they got to through an unsurmountable, almost impossible means, right? Less than 1% success rate. So what they've done is they found an opportunity to market and they've created a solution and they've created a very complex set of systematic processes to make that thing work. Unfortunately, no, well, fortunately, it works. Unfortunately, it has certain problems in it. Certain problems that are so big that they are willing to pay $110,000, $130,000 per year. That's how much is that per month? If you had a problem so big, let's do a calculation, or somebody has a calculator. Let's divide 120,000, right? USD per year by 12 months. They're willing to, would you be willing, what problem would you have? Would you be willing to spend $10,000 a month out of your pocket? I know you're not a company, but what problem would warrant you spending that much money on it? Okay. So now to solve the problem, you're willing to spend that amount of money to solve the real problem. The real problem is costing you maybe 5 times as much, 500,000 to 1 million. Okay. And you're only willing to spend a fraction of the money of the for the real problem because like we can't spend as much as the problem. For it to be worth it, we have to spend a fraction. If you think a good purchase would be $100,000 per year, $120,000 per year. So they want a very specific problem solved. And don't worry, this is answering your question soon, but I want to get this framework in the mind. And so they have this very specific problem. Me, I want peanut butter. I want something off Amazon. I want a display monitor that's very specific. I want a very specific thing off Amazon. When I go on Amazon, I want that exact thing that I want at that time, and it better be at the right price point. Okay. And it better be 1 millisecond delay. It better be crunchy peanut butter. It better have 50% this and 80% that and 2% this and 1% that. I'm the customer. The company's the customer. Okay, now that I've set the frame, right? Now that I've set the perspective. If there's any product that does not speak to exactly what I want, I'm not buying it. Okay. Isn't that true? You go into isn't there a certain type of strawberry or grapes you want when you go into the grocery store? You want that specific thing. So, so you are the market, right? And you want a very specific thing. And when you go in the grocery store, you want that thing. If there's anything that looks slightly different from what you want the strawberries that look slightly with a little bit of yellow in it. You don't want the fully red ones. No, you don't want a close enough solution. You want the exact solution. What is marketing now? Marketing is being able to speak to the exact problem that the customer has, not, and so what does that mean? That means you have to use their words, their keywords, their descriptors, and not anything that pertains to you or your capabilities. They want their solution, not your solution. Okay? They want their problem fixed, not problems you can fix. All right. So, how do you market yourself better? The first practical way is to only use. In fact, let me put this on the screen. Let me put this on the screen. This is one of the this might be the most important thing. Thank you for asking that question first. Let me share what kind of screen can I share here? Only use, oh wow, this is I can't figure out how to do one moment. This is screen three. Okay, that's screen three. Share. Great. I actually have too many things prepared. These are the this is the this is a full guide on specifically your resume. And the whole point of this thing is the reason why you're not going to see this kind of training anywhere else online. I know because I've tried for over a decade, and that's what forced me to have to create this. Because a lot of stuff you see online is bullshit. Okay? That's why a lot of it doesn't work. Because a lot of people don't, a lot, it's not, I'm not saying people don't know what they're saying or talking about, but they effectively kind of, it's a lot of bullshit. Okay? Doesn't work. It's a waste of time. Okay? So I was forced. This stuff only came to me after I had to learn how to sell my online course, my PCB design course on Udemy for OrCAD. And I learned marketing from Dave Espino. You need to use the keywords from the job description. Okay, so let's open up an example. Let's look at Apple. I'm going to show you how to market this right now. Jobs at Apple. I might have a resume that says, "Oh, I'm a PCB designer." Um, it'd be good if I could pull up the full thing here. Okay, full description. We don't just create oh, no, no, let's go to the web. Oh my God, like this is terrible. Hopefully you could see this. All right. The people here at Apple don't just create products. Okay, if I've ever asked you for a resume and a job link and you only give me the resume, I'll get upset immediately because the most important thing in marketing is the customer. That's the only thing that matters and what they want. So they say, so Apple creates products. Okay, that's number one. If if you've made a product, you want to pull that out on you want to put that on your resume. If not answered in future, how do I get necessary information to identify the problem of the customer? The company may not be explicit. Fair enough. That's something where you would want to, in case you need to go, a quick way to for non-explicit job description, run the company profile, the company's information, the products that they make, right? And the job link. and the job description through something like Claude or Chat LLM, whatever, with internet access through an AI, ChatGPT. That will then tell you what kinds of things they care about. Um, because they got to care about something and it's got to be on there. So that answers that right there. If you don't know if their job description's vague, run their whole company profile, which is what you're supposed to be doing anyway. Because uh, if they have a job for you, you need to know what they care about in general, what they stand for, what products they make, especially. Okay. It's like getting it. This is what we call getting the ideal customer profile in marketing and business. We want to know what type of food they eat, where they hang out, what kind of perfume they want to, type of thing. Whether they eat vegan, okay, that'll give you the insights for what they really care about. And that way, that gives you a lens into if you know, you pretty much you have to work there to know what they care about. Not anymore. You can research that stuff, okay, through with AI and the company profile. So Apple creates products. You have a product that you create, consumer electronics. Okay. So if you're coming as a power systems engineer, this disqualifies you as a, well, not you, but anything that's not about product creation, then you may want to leave that out. But anyway, let's continue. Create the kind of wonder, innovation that's revolutionized innovation, unconventional, creative. Okay. It's the diversity of people. We can ignore that, all right, because that's political, whatever. Well, not necessarily. Diversity can speak to sets of skills as well. It's very diverse, interdisciplinary skills from amazing technology to industry. But anyway, that's great. Oh, they mentioned it here. We have an opportunity for a dynamic, motivated individual. What does this mean? Highlight experiences where you had to be the pioneer, a leader, highlight times when you've led or done something, spearheaded something. But how are we doing on time? 3:19. Yeah, we got a good time. Okay. Deep understanding of printed circuit board design. What would deep mean in this case in printed circuit board design? It would mean that you understand the deep nuances, not the surface level stuff you might see in an article. Okay. Although many articles get very deep, can get pretty deep. Do you understand? Okay, high-speed design environments. For those who may not know, high-speed design rides on top of understanding signal integrity. Do you know all nine problems of signal integrity from off the top of your head? Okay. Do you know exactly what factors play into electromagnetic compatibility of a PCB stack-up? Do you know the material you're supposed to select? Do you know You need to understand 100% of those things to begin to tackle high speed design. Okay. They casually drop these things in here, but there's so much that goes underneath there, and they are telling you that you need to have deep understanding, not experience, not understanding, deep understanding. They put that in there for a reason. Basically, the whole cheat sheet is right here in the job description. They are telling you their pain points. They're like, we need someone who doesn't just follow the rules. We need you to be able to change the rules. Okay. And the ability is like, well, Kirsch, aren't you reading too much in this? No, 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 no. How do those Facebook ads show up just before you knew you needed to get a certain food item, or after you, like literally 5 minutes after you mention it to your friend on the phone that, oh, you think you're gonna go skiing, and then skiing ads show up on YouTube. Yeah, it's because they have these machine learning algorithms who have processed so many different profiles that they can predict and guess and the time and your age and behavior, and they're also listening. But when you're listening and researching someone, are you concerned about what you can bring to the table? No, you're concerned about them and what you can bring to them. It's all about the customer. Okay. So every single word in here matters. because the hiring manager took the time, or whoever took the time to say, we have this problem that we are willing to pay 275K for a year. Please help me. Help me. All right. To receive guidance from our design engineers to build okay, guidance. Can you show anywhere? You may think I'm drawing this out. I'm not. This really matters. Apple rejected me so many times, and they're the ones who approached me. 2022, no, 2019, 2022, 2023, 2024. In 2023, you know what they told me? They reached out to me, they said, "Hey, Kirsch, give us your resume." This is the third internal recruiter from Apple. And she said, "Oh yeah, let me send it to the team." She reached out to me, "I'll send it to the team." Heard nothing back. Um, this has happened three times before, different times from different recruiters reach out to me. I said, "I'm tired of this. Like, what the hell's going on? What? Okay, you reached out to me. Why isn't the team reaching back to me?" She said, "Oh, let me find out." She said, "Oh, actually, it's because you have power. It looks like from your teaching position that you did for a semester and your power systems engineer role, and something else. They said it looked like you weren't really a PCB designer." I'm like, what the hell? Or a hardware engineer. I said, that made no freaking sense. It's all over the resume. I said, what do you recommend? She says she recommends removing anything that doesn't have to do with hardware design. This is where it's through rejection that I learned these things. Okay. This isn't made up stuff. All right. I know what it is to not know where your rent's going to come from because you're done up with a contract job and you did a good job and YouTube sponsorships came in and saved you. I mean, you didn't know where the rent was going to come from and you have a kid who's 5. So I know what it is to deal with that for 10 months straight and depend on stimulus checks. All right. So guidance from our design engineers to build complex boards. What's complex? Well, it's typical complex board. If you haven't done a complex board, I'm not saying don't apply, but try to match what they're asking for. There are a lot of jobs out here and not enough people to fill them. We believe in technology enablement by collaboration and building extraordinary products at Apple. Great. That's important, but I won't drag this out too much longer because we got more stuff to go through. Collaborating with design teams, collaborating, meaning, okay, you know how nuanced this can get? This is a data point for an interview question. They may ask you about how do you design your schematics? I've gotten these questions before. This is not made up stuff. How do you do your schematics? And they may tip it off. They may say one of the engineers may tip it off and say, "Well, we work with software," and I say, "Okay, I noticed that." And then later I say, "How do you design approach your schematics?" Well, last time I worked with what you don't have to tell the whole story, but you can say I do my schematics to include notes for not just the PCB designers, but for the firmware engineers as well. You get a head nod. You say, "Ah, see, that's a technique I used at Canon." They're like, "Oh," because I was talking to the software engineering team. They're like, "Are you another one of those electrical engineering uh, assholes?" Sorry. Okay, I'm probably talking to double E. I'm a double E. Okay. Um, who blames us each time something goes wrong, and maybe you have to blame you back. No. So just from saying I include programming notes on the schematic shows that collaboration because I read the job description and I paid attention to what matched up. Let's continue. In the design and development, what have you designed before? You need to pull out design. You need to pull out development, board bring up, uh, programming, component selection, detailed layouts of rigid, okay, yeah, and flexible printed circuit boards using computer uh, assisted engineering, I guess, computer assisted engineering and computer aided design applications and tools is a key aspect of this position. Notice they didn't mention Altium specifically. I'd be surprised if they don't mention Allegro. Hold up, because they use Allegro. Yeah, they do. Okay, there we go. They use Allegro design entry H. No, no, they used to use Allegro design entry back up until 2022. Yeah, 2023. All right, and Altium. When I went to one of their house parties at the Apple employees and the team, and then Altium, they use that in their power electronics team, but mostly Allegro. Okay, and some Mentor graphics. All right, a lot of stuff in here. Studying PCB design trends and processes, and then evaluate. Okay, they want you to be a researcher, someone who's done some, highlight any research you've done, highlight any studies you've done, highlight any cutting edge stuff you've done. Not all, just drop it in there and put the word studying or studied PCB design trends. Copy their keyword phrasing and copy their keywords. Well, Kirsch, isn't that going to be obvious? Don't overcopy it. Don't put it like everywhere on the page. That's keyword stuffing. Then there's the whole ATS question. Keyword stuffing is a technique you do not want to use. The ATS will detect that and it will reject your resume. How many times is too frequent? Saying PCB design more times in your resume than it says it in the job description. Okay, that's a good barometer. And then evaluate and implement. When it says evaluate and implement, don't say, oh, don't use some word that's like, oh, well, I don't want to copy them exactly. I'll say uh, analyzed. And no, this is a pain point. This is a customer. This is like, yo, I need you to evaluate and implement shit. Now, I don't want you to analyze. No, evaluate. Oh, well, it's similar. No, it's not. They would have used the word analyze. You're not listening to the customer. How are you going to be a good service provider? Okay, you went through 4 years of university, maybe got your PhD or master's to get specialized skills to ignore, to make money off of your skills, to ignore what the customer is telling you. Come on now. Okay. We are just as picky. If I see if I see smooth, if I see honey is in the peanut butter on the thing, I'm gonna be like, well, why do you got honey in the peanut butter? I don't want honey in the peanut butter. Get this thing, I'm gonna just go with the basic peanut butter. Let me admit. Does this show? We are very picky, all of us. Okay. So you have to be just as precise and exact with these terms. So steal these words, those processes that apply to Apple's core technologies, conducting design feasibility studies to evaluate the PCB design tools, feasibility, manufacturing, system performance, assisting PCB designers in a resolution. So use and pick up all these keywords, and there is a framework, a formula for using the correct phrases and terminology that you can implement each and every time. Okay. And I will present that. Okay, so you get the point, you get the idea. You want to pick up all the keywords and use them. Now, the first thing, so this answers how to market myself better, use the exact keywords that they use and the key phrases that they use in the way that they use them. Resolved critical design problem. Now, okay, don't copy it exactly like that. You see, you could say fixed critical design problems, but you're using key phrases, critical design problems, um, requirements before release. Did release requirements? Did uh, processed trends? Right? Okay, I processed trends in such and such whatever experience. So now I'm going to pull up a resume template or the here are my notes of me ranting. Okay, this is going to be the book. I think I have the registrants on here. Once I get done ranting through this book, I'm gonna redo this up and you'll have this full playbook on every single little detail and formula. All right. This is the behind the stuff formula. Now, as for a checklist, this checklist is what you would use and implement. Why is mindset first important? Is because changing your whole mind about how you approach this, especially if you're in business, just changes how you operate. Hold up. This is what I was looking for. Okay, such and such. Why? Because you're thinking like an employee. Don't think like an employee. You're an entrepreneur. Okay, you're a service provider. You're a service professional. Okay, how to get past the ATS, blah, 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 all that stuff. All of this is in here. Analyze the job description. So, um, okay, pull. So you would use this script. You can, these are prompts that I put in here to help accelerate the process, speeds it up a lot. Oh, admit. Okay. Into ChatGPT or whatever. You've got the free plan. Okay. Put that in here. You start with the job description, always, never the resume, never the resume. It's like having a product that's looking for a customer. Doesn't work. All right. That's why most companies fail. Well, not most, but a lot. All right. Maybe most. Why this matters, blah, blah, blah. Download your resume, prepare your materials. So you have your resume downloaded. You want to open a blank document on your new resume. Okay. Blank document. Have the job description and keyword analysis visible. So what we're going to do, is going to open up ChatGPT. I kind of was just going to give information, but y'all probably like to see it in action, I would guess. I would wager. Is the book available to purchase? Not yet. I'm actually going to finish put it together. Okay. I actually do have a book, and this workshop here is giving you an overview of everything. There are three phases. There's the resume. Just the resume alone. When you put that new resume up there on Career Builder, your whole situation changes. This is the back end of all my one-on-one clients who are doing hardware design. There's a methodical process that always works. It's literally just copywriting because I had to learn copywriting. That's how I got Learn OrCAD Online to page one on Google above Cadence Design System. Hello, the company that bought OrCAD that owns it. Then they started running ads, and I told them how to get on first page above me again because I was their customer. Enable, yes. EMA design automation, Cadence design systems. I preached in the air for years about what improvements they could make, and they finally started listening. That's why they have the Academy. That's why they have that Cadence high-speed digital design guide on their website. That's in three parts. I ghost wrote that entire thing last September through January. Hello. Okay. You'd be surprised at how much stuff is out there that was ghostwritten by me. Okay. So here's the essential career transition guide, your blueprint to landing your dream job. This is literally the process I take all of my one-on-ones through. It's three phases. The job description. I won't even say the resume. I wouldn't dare say that because it's about the customer. The job description, which creates a how do I say? Kind of like a you would approach the resume just like you would approach a blog post. There's search engine optimization, keywords, or maybe more like a sales letter. Okay, so we're teaching entrepreneurship in this process because this is what it is. Okay. The book will be available to purchase for this manuscript version sometime this week. It won't be expensive because you're trying to get a job. All right. Phase one is the resume. The reverse, I call it the reverse resume because we start with the job description, not the resume. It's not about us. Then uh, you have the LinkedIn and networking mastery. People network. The problem with networking is you have to use up 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your time every time to reach out to new people. You still do that. But it's the same problem for job applying to job. You still have to use your time to go out, apply, apply, apply. And each application may take you 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes. How much time do you have in a week? You don't have that much time. We have to reverse it. We have to create a brand. You don't have to create a brand. We have to attract to save ourselves time. If you're going to do outbound, why not have inbound as well? Leverage LinkedIn. Okay. So I show you how to reverse engineer job descriptions, multiple job descriptions, not just one, three, four, five, maybe if you actually you can do as many as you want, if it makes sense, to attract recruiters who are desperately trying to find you. They're putting in keywords. I'm skipping some steps here. I'm going to get back to it. There, but I'm just giving you an overview of the book. LinkedIn is a uh, LinkedIn saved me essentially. LinkedIn and Career Builder or Monster.com. Applying this on and those kinds of websites where recruiters are looking for people, that's what saved me. That's what got me out of my internship and in working at ERCOT. And then again, working at different places. The last time I applied to a job was 2019. Recruiters always found me to put me into jobs. Yes, yes. This is done the right recruiters too. Why? Because I optimized my LinkedIn and my resume. Okay. To speak to the pain points of the customer. So then you have the LinkedIn and then you have interviews. It's a whole different mindset with the interview as well. We're thinking differently as service providers. And there's a whole new framework, different framework. You won't hear this stuff online on LinkedIn. And there's a different framework to think of for your interviews. It's all flipped. Okay. Then if you want to go beyond, well, first of all, anybody who's used the system, my one-on-one clients can tell you they've all gotten hired. Okay. Two, um, if you want to go beyond and do like a personal brand, I know Ong is doing his thing on social media, on LinkedIn, and he got like 140 something reactions. Okay. If you want to go beyond and start building and getting followers and then have options, opportunities, so you're not limited to just the jobs that come and find you, which is the new reality, by the way, it's great, then you can do that. And then there's a way to handle offers, okay, that positions you to not burn bridges early or and to not get under. There are different techniques you can use to not get lowballed, okay? And then and also there's so many things, mindset frameworks to so that the more and more rejections come, it doesn't phase you. People say it's a number game, but they don't talk about the psychology necessary to remember that it's a numbers game. Okay. The reasons and the psychological tricks that you and hacks you would use to sustain applying so that you don't get so you keep your vibration high so that the right things do eventually come to match your mental vibration. Okay. So that the 3D matches with the 4D. Okay. Notice when you're in a great mental state, nothing can phase you. And then eventually things start going as well as your mental state. That's how I manifested Intel. But anyway, I won't let me not get all woo-woo on you. Okay, let me hurry up. We got 20 minutes. Okay. Mentors. So this is what's in the book. This is the playbook. The future and of work and your dream job. The future of work. Basically, once you land that job through the system, stack your cash, enjoy your life, and then when it's time to dip, uh, invest in the stock market because we might be screwed. Okay. Okay. How to convince. Okay. So I wish I could cover market. I could make a whole lecture on marketing yourself better because that is the most important thing. The purpose of here's the key principle. The more you align, this is the alignment. This is the secret. I'm glad this is the first question. The more you align with what they want, in fact, this whole thing is all about alignment. The more you align with what the customer pain points are, the closer you get to in that seat. That's why what's the biggest thing that determines whether somebody gets hired or fired or whatever, whether they fit into that company culture or not. Are you a good fit? Not you can't be yourself or nothing like that. No, no, definitely be yourself. What I'm saying is, on a professional level, as a service provider, do your skills align? Do you give a shit about the company? Oh, well, no, I don't. They're a business. Okay, yeah, they're a business, but they have pains that they're willing to pay money for. They're a customer. Just a mindset shift. Shifts it to where, okay, am I gonna BS? Do I want the paycheck or am I gonna try to BS them to get it because I'm desperate for the role? I know what desperation looks like. I don't say I've been homeless. I'm not saying, everybody's situation is different, but I kind of know what desperation is from my earlier bit of story. That's not the worst of it, okay? But people can sense when you want something from them versus if you actually give a crap. All right. Now, if you could fake that, then cool, but they could snuff that out. If you get the right person, they might snuff it out. All right. So it's not about convincing anything. It's all about marketing and alignment. So you speak to their pain point. You say, "Oh, I see that you make this device. I noticed in an article that, or in my role, in my job, like, let's talk about the interview, right? In terms of alignment, how do you market? And it's always marketing. You're always marketing yourself through the interview, through the resume, through the first phone call. When they say, tell me a little bit about yourself, like on the or the first interview or whatever, they want to know what about your history aligns with what they care about and their stuff. So talk about, don't mention how you got a 3 point something GPA. We don't care about all that. Can you solve the problem? Okay. Um, don't mention the different roles you've had unless it speaks to them wanting like leadership or specific things. Everything that you bring up needs to be relevant. Now, here's what you're doing psychologically and feeling wise, what they may be getting subtle signals from you as you talk about everything about your life and your professional experience that aligns with their needs for that role. And then they're going to be, oh, shoot, okay, 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 okay. Man, that's exactly what we're get him an interview. Get him a real interview. Get him on the because or get her on the interview because she's sounding exactly like what we need because we needed to do we had this problem back in and then you happen to bring up the same problem that they're working on. Hello, that's marketing. Speaking to the customer's problem through your experiences and only those. Okay. How do you lose people in a conversation when you talk about you while they're talking about them and your active listening is listening to what they're saying and speaking to their person. You'd be the most charming person in the world if all the conversation about the other person, okay? Okay. How to convince? How do you convince is to market yourself to speak to that person, okay? The secret to convincing is to present things that are self-evident things that you've done that are relevant to literally the cheat sheet. They are literally giving you the job description, the cheat sheet. You convince by aligning with what they talked about in the job description. They gave you so much information. EMC experiences. Let's say you don't have EMC experience, like, oh, I don't know. Well, oh man, I was reading this EMC guide, uh, and it mentioned in page something, and I'd be like, oh shit. I mean, okay, he doesn't have the experience. I don't see experience, but he mentioned the EMC guy. Okay, okay, okay. So what they're sizing up is where can we put them in the team? Let's say they're a little short on this or that experience, but they're interested in it. Okay, okay. Without you saying it. The secret to convincing is to present things that will help them convince themselves that you are the choice. That's the secret. It's just like how our brains can recognize a foreign idea and will automatically reject it. But if it's our idea, hello. So that's how you convince. I could do a whole class on that, half a class, but let's move on. How to match my resume job description. You don't match your resume to the job description. You don't. What you do is you throw your resume in the trash, okay? You burn it up and you craft a reverse resume. You craft a sales letter, a sales pitch from the cheat sheet. So you don't even need your resume. You use the job description and it generates a resume for you. Now, Kirsch, what do you mean? We're not gonna copy the whole we gotta slip some what are you talking about? Okay, trick to this is in the checklist. And the trick little game what you do is you get the job description and the company profile. Excuse me. Then you pull up your LLM chat tool. Hey, make a perfect resume for this job description and company that matches someone who is 35. Well, how about me? I'm 25, right? Okay, y'all believe me? Y'all believe me? Okay, I'm 25. Okay, who's 36? Has 6, 7 years, whatever years in hardware, et cetera, et cetera. We're starting with the job description. Here's the job. Now, you don't have to do this. What I'm doing is a supercharged method. The first thing you want to do if you do this manually, which I recommend, is pulling the top 6 keywords. Okay? I'm just showing you an advanced technique here. Let's see what it generates. Well, okay, it has my information. That's crazy, right? Core skills and tools, professional experience, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is good, but I want to do something else here. I want to do something else here. Um, List the most important keywords in terms of order and frequency that they appear, then spit out that list in order, please, and from your assessment. You would have a better assessment of what the company obviously seems to care about. Whoops, okay. That's typing in a document. I'd be a bit careful since LLM makes the generic statements and ATS have. No, we're not. Okay, that's true, but we're not. I'm just giving you an idea. I'm not saying to make your whole resume off this thing. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. I'm just doing this to speed up the process. Basically, the whole process is this. Uh, do not use an AI generated resume. What I'm doing here is we want to extract information and data real fast. I do this manually. What I do is let me just give you an idea. The approach I do manually is I look at the top six skills that they mention, right? The first six, and they usually put it first at the based on order of top of mind importance. Deep understanding of printed circuit board design. That's the first skill you need to list. List the top six skills in a job description. Okay. High speed design environment. High speed design. That's the second skill. Skills that we care about typically are when humans are doing a thing. The secondary skills are a tool or technique that's or software that's used to do the thing of the primary skill. The ability to receive guidance from okay, blah blah blah. That's not necessarily a skill. I mean, it is. It's listening, but build complex boards. Um, Collaboration, design, development, printed circuit boards mentioned again. CAD, you need some CAD experience. If you never designed a printed circuit board using a CAD tool, but you've done printed circuit board testing and blah, 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 and oh, well, no, that's not good enough. You need to have the skill. Okay. What I do is I pick up the top six keywords, usually based in order, but then I also look at frequency, PCB design, printed circuit board design, PCB design, difficult CAD. See, that's that difficult CAD. Can you do automation? Can you reverse engineer a PCB to fix a schematic that went wrong because somebody who was working on it got laid off the team suddenly? Design for manufacturing guidelines. Do you know DFM, right? So I'm just using ChatGPT. In fact, just so people don't misinterpret it, I asked ChatGPT to pull the top six keywords. Pull the top six keywords. Kirsch, why only the top six keywords and key phrases? The order they're mentioned. I know I copied this text, but I'm rephrasing it a little. Oops, let me stop it. For AI, you have to be very specific, or the more specific, the better. From the original job description, not from the generated resume. Hit send. Printed circuit board design, high speed. What I say? What I say? A, high speed design environments, rigid and flexible printed circuit boards, CAE and CAD applications and tools designed for manufacturing. I'm too good. Okay. All right. Consumer electronics space. It's saying, let me know if you want to align these more closely in the resume content or rearrange the skills section to reflect this exact order. Okay. I would choose rearrange the skills to reflect this exact order. Why? It's not about the resume, it's about the job description. Okay. And I've done a whole course on this, but the videos are grainy, so I want to re-record the videos. So now your skills that you put on a resume that are at the top of we haven't even talked about the structure of the resume yet. That'll be in a template or whatever in a PDF that I give to you. That's fine. Um, so the core skills, we list the order that they mentioned it in the job description. We are not matching our resume to anything. Our resume doesn't exist. Core skills and tools, right? I'm using ChatGPT for data mining. You would then put these core skills and tools. Oh, actually, I could just pull this up. Resume template. Excuse me. All right. So Kirsch Mackey resume template, right? What you want is your name, city, state. It doesn't have to be this exact format, but do you see any photos or anything or any bar on the side? People have gotten hired on those. Those are not necessarily the this oh, I have to make a copy. Okay. They do not, we don't have no photos, no crazy stuff. No. At most, a bar and a line. So for the ATS, use as very little formatting as possible. And ideally, you would put up text or PDF because there are hidden characters that are in there that could screw with the ATS a little bit. ATSs are now more sophisticated, so that's a little less of a problem, but we can't just hope and bet that it's doesn't kick out your resume for whatever reason. Keyword stuffing doesn't work if I think we all know that, but if not, keyword stuffing is where you may, and hidden keyword stuffing is where you would put the keywords in white text. So where it wouldn't be picked up, it would be picked up by the ATS, but not visually. Um, there's algorithms to kick those out. If it's too frequent, it's like, nah, this is fishy. Okay. This is my copy. So I have a modified copy so I don't get into copyright issues because this is Dream Career Lab that I bought for a course I paid for some money for when I was desperate. That still didn't help. I had to learn this through hard knocks. Okay. The name, city, state, email, phone, LinkedIn URL. Definitely put the LinkedIn URL. Use a professional email. All of these matter. Don't put the your address, home address, unless it's very required. Don't use that convention. They don't need to know your address. They need to know if you're in the city or state or in the area. That's fine. They will prefer oftentimes, and I'm talking about the US, oftentimes local people over non-local people. But if you have enough skill and you are the best candidate, they will want you. But if you're close to someone in skill and they are slightly underqualified, it could be less of a problem. It may be worth it for them to pick the one who is local. Okay. Does that mean make a local city to them? Not necessarily. No, you don't want to lie. They want to know the risks involved. They are a customer, not a company. So treat them as such. So be honest. And then you have the job title. Well, be as honest as much as possible because we still want to get the paycheck, right? And then we show them, okay, so hey, this is business after all. Okay, but no, be honest. All right, so now then you have what is the top thing? Well, first of all, job title. Just copy the job title. Don't put electric. If this is a company that you targeted, oh, we got 5 minutes left. If this is a company you targeted, put the job title that's in the job. Don't put electrical engineer and then put that as your application for a company like Apple. No. If it's a job you specifically pick, quickly copy the exact thing, role. Man, what the hell? I can't find the thing. Just copy the exact title, you get the point, and paste it on there. Boom. When they see that, they'll be like, oh, okay, that's a psychological hit right there. That helps the ATS as well. It's like, whoop, let's send that over there. All right, that's the first thing. This is just like a blog post. In a blog post, or just like a YouTube video for retention, title, thumbnail, blog post. What's the most important thing about a blog post? One line. What about if your current job title is different than the great question? If your current job title is different, like we talking about biologist versus PCB designer, like what are we talking about? If we're talking about electrical engineer, and I have that addressed in the checklist too. What I say is, as much as possible, let's say it's hardware engineer versus PCB design. Oh, put hardware engineer. who specialize in PCB design. Transitioning career, I don't see transitioning career in the job description. Or you're saying you're transitioning career. If it ain't in the job description, do what you can to fit that thing. Make that thing. Don't lie. But a hardware engineer is a hardware engineer. Okay, well, my definition of a hardware engineer is someone who can do schematic capture and PCB design and may or may not, but usually does, do board bring up and hardware testing and validation, or can. Okay. Um, but I have seen a number of times where someone lists hardware engineer on their LinkedIn, but they haven't really designed a PCB. So it's you have to kind of if you don't have that PCB skill, don't put PCB designer on there. D don't apply to the job. Okay, don't try to make it fit. The customer is gonna see that, just put it what it is. Now, if you includes PCB design, then put PCB designer, even if you were a hardware engineer. If it says hardware engineer and you're a PCB designer who happen to do schematics as well, put hardware engineer and put focused on PCB design. You see the play? Match what matches in an honest fashion. Okay, match what matches. If you're transitioning career, switching a job, okay, that's a more detailed thing. You can feel free to if you want to stay on longer, we can ask. I'm gonna get through the rest of what I can in 2 minutes, so y'all can go. Let me get through this template format too as well. You can still ask. Skills and interests. Okay, after the job title, that's the headline on the blog post. Oh, this topic is what I care about exactly. Oh, how to get fit in 23 days. No, I don't want the 25 days article. I want a 23-day article. Okay, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, matches. Because that matches, I go down to the skills and interests. Why I put the skills and interests first? If you don't have the skills, I'm not interested. Okay? I'll say it again. If you don't have the skills, I'm not interested in the rest of the resume. So I would look at the skills first. Activities, I don't care activities you do. What skills do you have? Put this at the top. See, this is why I changed this template, okay? And made my own. You want to put your skills at the top. What would be the first skill based on our case study? PCB design, printed circuit board engineer. Where's that cheat sheet, that cheat list? Write down, I don't know exactly where it, okay, here it goes. Printed circuit board design. That's the first skill you put on there, not whatever not whatever the heck is on your your current resume, which you shouldn't be looking at anyway, because we made a new one. And you put that right in there. Whoops, didn't copy. Okay. Next skill, paint by numbers. High speed design. Now don't put high speed design environments. That's not a skill. That's an environment. Just say high speed design. What about high speed digital design? You could put that, but why? They said high speed design. Just put that, right? Well, clearly we want to be intelligent enough to tweak some things, Kirsch. Okay. You want to try to outsmart the person who has the problem. You know more than they do. Use the words that they were use, please. From what I know in other CVs, it is recommended to put in brackets where you got the skill from. I mean, okay. That as long as it matches, okay, you could put whatever else you want to add in there. But as long as you match and align first with what they want. If you give them a rainbow colored pen and they ask for a red pen, you better give them that red pen and then add the rainbow later on top of that. You see what I'm saying? So you could add brackets. I never heard of that before, and I've never needed to do it. But um, but I've never done that, and I just match what they're saying. If I'm literally using the same words that they're using, they're not gonna not interview me unless, well, that's not always true. You have significantly higher chances. What I'm saying is, at the very base, match what they are telling you first. Don't add extra shit. Don't engineer nothing. Don't figure stuff out. Don't try to outsmart them. Match what they're saying. Okay. Okay. They want to know, do you have the skills? They didn't ask, okay, they had to have gotten it. I want them to make sure that they got the skills from this place or that. No, that's extra stuff. The more you add extra stuff, okay, there's another rule. The the confused customers don't buy. You're trying to sell them on every word you put here. See what I'm saying? What if something you put in your brackets, oh, you got this skill while you were working at Randstad technology. They may be like, oh, screw Randstad people. The Randstad engineers are trash. Oh, so okay, now you match something, but now you shot yourself in the foot. I'm not saying that that's what would happen. What I'm saying is you want to match and align first. Get because we're only at the top here, right? They haven't even fully invested. Got you. You makes okay, great. Align. Align. That's the only thing that matters first. Align first. It's not that you can't do other stuff. Align first. Okay? Say what you got to say to get the date and then reveal you're crazy after 6 months. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Okay. All right. So now design for manufacturing. You could leave off the word guidelines. A 2 or 3 keyword matches is solid, but make sure you put it in there. And then do you just leave the template as it is? No, you literally take the skills section, put it in there. Why? Every word and phrase has to sell the reader on the next thing. If the moment I see, and we do this so fast, we're not even consciously aware of it. What the brain is trying to do is categorize you and figure out some stuff. And the majority of what we do is subconscious. We'd be like, oh, I read the resume, but it doesn't seem to, I don't know. It seems like it has the words, but I don't know how I feel about it. Versus they look at this resume and they're like, holy shit, this is exactly what I they won't remember what they put. They say, oh, this is exactly what the frick we need. This is exactly what we need. I'm trying to not curse. I know some people are probably cursed. Oh Lord, it's a okay. Okay. Sorry to you know, to the holiday. Okay. I'm expletives. Okay. All right. Sorry that the it's going longer. I'll send you the recording. Don't worry about it. Okay. Skills. Once you match and they're like, I'm liking what this is saying. DFM. Okay. Design for manufacturing with the DFM. Don't just, okay. Oh, I want to save space, so I'll just put DFM. No. Put design for manufacturing, DFM. Hook them. Okay. Bait them. Okay. They know better. They know that problem better than you. Consumer electronics. Put in consumer electronics. You design consumer electronics. Okay. If you put in consumer electronics space, that sounds weird. That's not a skill. That's an environment. Excuse me. Even if you do this with AI, do this, do this. Really, you're supposed to be doing all this manually. Use AI to speed up the process after you've gotten good at this. Okay. Activities. Um, they don't care about your activities. They care about what you can solve, what problem you can solve. They care about, okay, it's not that they don't care about you. They care about what problem you can solve first. Then they care. Then once you're hired and once you're in the interview, then they care about what other stuff you can do and have done. They may be like, "Oh, we get exactly what we want and all this extra stuff. Man, you better send them the job offer. Just give them the job. Shoot, just send them the job because perfect alignment. So don't confuse them with other words and stuff. Languages, if they didn't ask about languages, take that off. If they didn't ask about activities, remove it. Software, well, we got to put CAD too. When they see all this, they're going to be like, oh, wow, this is that. Now they care about, okay, what kind of software you use since you know all this stuff? Oh, I used Allegro. Well, but technically I used OrCAD. No, OrCAD is a baby Allegro. They use the same Allegro technology, right? So I say I used Allegro. And they'd be like, oh, okay, what kind of Allegro you use? This is when they say in the interview, what kind of Allegro you use? Oh, Allegro, OrCAD, but it's, they're like, oh, okay, okay. But you're at least in the interview, right? Hello. because they're the same. Now, if they're not the same and you use Keysight ADS, now don't just say it like you still have to be honest. It's about what matches, matching. Okay. Um, then whatever else, then the type of software you use. Okay, that's just the skill section. Well, Kirsch, why I put the skill section in the other thing. You could do that. I've seen skill sections at the bottom of the resume. Don't do that though. Put it at the top. Why? Because since I'm invested now in all your skills and you hit 100%, 80%, 90%, now I care about your experience. Now it's more all of a sudden more important to me. Oh, I saw the trailer of the movie. Ah, now I'm interested in the movie. You know, the title got me interested. Okay. The theme and the brand got me interested enough to watch the trailer. The trailer sold me on the idea of the movie. The price of the movie sold me to, and what time it is showing. All of these things pre-sell us to finally make the decision to feel like we're going to see the movie. Now I want to see the movie. Okay, now let's get into his profession or her professional experience. Now I give a crap. Okay, who's the employer? Okay, city, state. Here's the thing. If they're not in the same city and state, they might this works here as well. They might put your thing to the side and be like, "Oh, this is a strong resume," but I see our local applicants and then we see our pile for our non-local applicants. I'm not saying it works in all places like that. People have their different processes, but I'm just saying pre-sell that. Professional experience, employer, title. Let's see what's the next question. How to match my resume, job description. You don't. I think I asked that. Answer that. How to pass the ATS, bare bones resume. No special characters, nothing. No, no special bars, no images, nothing. How to tailor my resume and match hidden alignment signals in vague job posts. We answered the vague job post thing. Get the company profile. If you need help with AI, it'll tell you exactly what the heck the company cares about. And from the job description, it can surmise the likely things that kinds of skills that are needed in the job. How do you stand out from other applicants? You don't first. You don't at first. You don't at first. How you stand out is be exactly what they're looking for. And also, here's an important thing. We're a service provider. Obviously, our resume does not represent the totality of us or who we are. It's impossible. Our careers don't even represent that. We may feel that way sometimes if we work, we work really hard because we want to solve problems and change the world and not be jaded by a job that doesn't care about our recommendations. But there's more than that. We're family people. We are somebody's partner. We can change whatever we want to in life. We have different interests and hobbies. What you are putting here is a sales letter. It's an offer. You say, hey, I see you have these problems. I'm going to pitch you an offer on this document. They'll be like, okay, tell me the offer. Here's this document. Does You don't have to put what represents all of you on there. And even if it's all of everything you've done, that's still not all of you. It's things you've done that can help the customer. So what would you put on there? You put things that help the customer. It doesn't represent you. If they reject your offer, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting your proposal. So it's like, okay, I got to modify the proposal. Okay, okay, okay. Well, I want exactly that. I want this and that and this and that. I don't want this. And I'm like, okay, okay, let me switch it up. Okay, here's a new proposal. You like that? Be like, oh, yeah, yeah, but okay, here's a new one. Okay, this is looking good. Okay, let's have a discussion. Let's have a discussion. Okay, I might want to buy. I might want to buy. That's what this resume is. Okay, so you're selling them. Unfortunately, you don't get too many. Well, you can get a bunch of chances by applying multiple times. Okay, so you want to every word to sell the next thing. The city, state, title. The title. If the title says electrical engineer, but you actually worked on hardware, are you helping or hurting the proposal? You're hurting the proposal. Put hardware engineer. Well, Kirsch, I don't have time to be changing my title for every single application. I got 200 applications. I know, but this is for your top five companies, maybe 10. You would do all of this. There's a whole other thing. Basically, the secret to when you're mass applying is to pick three jobs where that you reverse engineer your resume three times through, run that three times backwards. Okay. You reverse engineer craft a resume. You don't get your resume and tailor. No, no, no. Throw that away. You reverse craft three three resume tiers that speak to all three of your ideal jobs. Then you use that and put that in Career Builder. What that does is now three tiers of recruiters, three types of jobs are searching for you all at the same time. That's how you get more opportunities and daily blow up on your phone, like I do, and in your email. Okay. Um, and then you don't have to change a bunch of your titles. So many things, different things are gonna hit that you can mass post your resume there in those portals. And then for the companies you really care about, you craft, don't tailor, you craft the resume for them. Okay. Partnering. Okay. There is a formula for this. Basically, it's oi, skill, uh, resume. Um, Sorry if I maybe this one. Yeah, here we go. Here's a formula. This is what I should have went with, but this is, you got the idea, right? Basic stuff, basic format, nothing fancy. The thing is now we're over time. You'll get the recording. Feel free to leave. We're over time. I'll be here for another, you know, 17 minutes or so, or maybe more. Databases. Okay, here's the technique. Put in bold. This will blow your mind. Okay, the skill that we put up here, right? The same skill. Put this same skill in bold down here, put a dash, put it in bold. Why put it in bold? Catches their eye. A human reviewer is going to look at it. Now, if they're starting to use AI now after the ATS to review it, sophisticated AI, but a human's going to review it ultimately because we have higher intelligence than the AI. And they're gonna and what tricks are we playing here? The trick we're playing is visual attention. It's bolded. Oh, you may even want to do a little trick to unbold these just so their eye can go to. See what I did here? PCB designer. That was intentional. I was electrical engineer. I'm an electrical engineer. I'm an electrical and electronics systems engineer, actually. Okay. Because I have expertise in multiple domains in double E. All right. So, but I put electrical PCB designer. Why? Because I probably tailored this to a hello. Exactly. I'm not above. I'm trying to pitch the sale, my guy. I'm trying to get this bag. I don't care what my title was at my job. I'm trying to get this money. My title is what you say it is because you're the customer. I'm providing a service. Okay. Databases. I put this in bold, catches the eye. And like, okay, databases. I mean, not databases, sorry. Printed circuit board designer. Oh, that's exactly the same first highest priority skill we care about. Let me read on. They're not thinking this consciously. It just catches their attention immediately. We read so fast and interpret so quickly that subconsciously, because subconscious processes the 99.995% of everything anyway, subconsciously we just are drawn to it and like, oh, okay, I immediately see that. That's exactly what I want. And blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what's the formula? The formula is um action verb. Let me type it out. Actually, I think this is good. Action, oh, man, this would be the format is in my other document. Sorry, I wasn't as, I mean, I'm quite prepared, but I'm just trying to get through this thing. I didn't put a presentation slide deck together. Action, verb, action. I performed uh, a task, action, a task. Ideally, the task is some skill. some secondary or tertiary skill that's mentioned here in the, I probably, okay, with senior, blah, 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 blah. Okay, okay. Printed circuit board design. Designed, printed. Okay, check this out. Check this out. Design complex, high speed printed. I could put printed circuit boards, but I'm trying to make it natural. PCBs. If I put high-speed printed circuit boards, that would be okay, but PCB sounds more natural since I just put printed circuit board design here. I know, Kirsch, this is a freaking copywriting class. That's exactly what it is. That's exact who got trained in copywriting? Not me. Well, until I had to sell courses, right? This is the copywriting method to resume creation. All right. I call it alignment. But anyway, design complex high-speed PCB. I'm hitting three keywords and a fourth keyword in the first couple words. Do you see how much alignment is happening? They're like, holy shit, okay, let me read this. Complex with senior executives, meaning, why would I mention that? Apple says the customer, this is an Apple, this is the customer. The customer says something about being able to basically work with the team and also like take instruction, not take instructions, but something like that. Okay. You're working with senior executives with the way they word it to establish blah 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 to um they mentioned DFF to increase product yield. Apple is a product company. Ooh, to increase consumer product yield. Well, Kirsch, what if we have corporate clients who were our customers in our previous job? We didn't have consumers. Well, customer product yield. Well, what if they didn't care about yield? It was only one R&D, one R&D board. Customer product performance. Performance would be a good key word that's not explicitly mentioned, but it's implicitly understood that Apple wants cutting edge. So that's a word that may, you know, what, Kirsch, well, why, how do you remember? Because I listened to what the customer said in their job description. Um, propelling growth, revenue growth by, okay, and the formula is res with with end result, um, well, okay, with X result by Y percent, or Y revenue, whatever, and then you could put in, and pretty much that's the formula. Don't worry, the exact formula is in the document that I'll share with you. And you don't have to stay until the end. I have the records of you've already stayed into the end, so you'll get the PDF. All right. Develop and execute it, and I'll email it to you. You repeat this same formula. You just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Bold the skill that they care about. What's the next skill going to be? High speed design. Oh, well, Kirsch, actually, I did more of DFM constraint management. I don't care. You put high speed design next. That's what you put. You think they care about what you did more of? They'll find out in the interview. Get that interview. This whole document is to sell them, is to pitch them to get you a phone call. That's the purpose of the resume. The purpose of the phone call is for you to align with what they care about. You look at the job description, say, oh, this is the phone call. Oh, yeah, I did such and such. Oh, so tell us a little bit about your background. Oh, I designed printed circuit boards and I did high-speed designs. There was this high-speed project that I did, blah, blah, blah. And well, tell us a little bit more. Oh, yeah, well, I've been looking at, well, shoot, I don't have rigid flex design experience. Um, I say, well, I don't have rigid flex design. No, okay, here's the other thing. This is a whole other thing. I have to do a whole series on this. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't say, oh, well, I don't have this thing. Because you're most likely talking to a recruiter who may or may not have the detailed nuance, like who may not be an engineer, who will be like, oh, shit, actually, you brought that to my attention. You don't have rigid flex design. So let me find out how important that. No, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Be like, you want to align, don't say what you don't have. Say what you do have. That's alignment. Okay. If you don't have experience in that, skip over it. Don't mention it if it's mentioned in the resume. If they ask about it, bring up what you have done that aligns with it. Oh, actually, I was reading about rigid flex and in Sierra Circuit's guide, and it said that blah blah. Blah. So I've been doing some research on it. Um, as far as designing the full boards, no, but I've been doing research on it. I've done something. Don't bullshit though. Don't bullshit. If you've read the thing because you prepared for the call, then you've read the thing. If you didn't read the thing, you didn't read it. If you intend on reading it, you could, if you want to do a little business tactic, you could say, I started to read it and I need to, or I read through some of it and actually I need to go back. The recruiter may not yet. And then make sure you read that thing before the interview happens. Okay. Okay. Alignment. Design for manufacturing guidelines. Kirsch, we get it. We get it. Let's move on. Oh, I know, but we make so many decisions in our subconscious that would automatically, I might see one thing on this resume and be like, I might read the whole resume and say, ah, doesn't feel right. I like this one better. That's literally how it can happen sometimes. Most likely you'd get some insight, some whatever. Or I forgot. This thing didn't stand out. I'll address that. Okay. You rinse and repeat this same formula. Do not change it. Don't try to engineer shit. This is a copywriting exercise. This is not an engineering assignment. Okay? This is sales and marketing and messaging. Okay, employer, you rinse and repeat for your experience. You rinse and you repeat for your projects. You list your projects. Somebody said, for a lot of companies, the project doesn't matter. Okay, if your project doesn't align with with the exact uh problem, why would it matter? If you've done a project that's exactly what they're looking for, high current 60 amp current sense with Hall effect sensor and a differential uh with a high shunt whatever resistor, you think that skill wouldn't and experience wouldn't matter to them? The point I'm making is as long as it matches and aligned and you have some industry experience, and it's very much aligned, they're gonna get curious. And you might get lucky enough to get a call, and you might get lucky enough to stay aligned in your communication to get that interview. It's still a fierce market. So you want to give yourself every single chance to get matched and be like, man, they were a perfect match. Why didn't we call them? If we have a work experience that is irrelevant to them, can we just not mention it at all? Okay, you can, as long as the gap is not massive, let's say it's 8 years, you got to mention it. All right. If it's Apple, don't mention it. Okay. If it's, they are very persnickety and picky. They're a slight anomaly. Okay. So you put the experience. If it's irrelevant to them, the technique that I use is I don't put like 5 and 8 bullet points under there of everything I did that's not relevant. I only put maybe one relevant thing. Now here's the thing too. Having a job that's not relevant to their exact thing is not necessarily, that's not a death sentence. It could be an asset. Here's where standing out comes into play. You st you get notice. Okay, you align and match. You don't have to be the best candidate in the world. Could you send us a recording? Thanks a lot. God bless you, mate. Oh yeah. All right, Nelson. I'll send the recording. You align and match first. That's what they care about. Then from all of the applicants who align and match, then now you start to all look the same, but you're at least in the same pool. You've gotten past the rest of the applicants. Now you're in the phase where now they're going to be looking at, okay, what stands out? We got 50 people who align out of the 100,000 people who applied. We got 50 people. Now we're going to start looking at the vibe, the way it's communicated, feeling the vibe. We're not even going to look at it because they're not necessarily copywriters or nothing. Um, and we're going to be looking, okay, now they're going to be looking at, oh, this is where your experience that's not relevant can play out. Oh, I did sales at Target for 5 years, and you put keywords, mind you, Even if the job is not relevant, you still better pick up some keywords out of here. You better use ChatGPT and say, find some keywords. Okay, for this job that I did, there's got to be something relevant. Skill, just general skills. This is where we get into general skills now. In any job, you need to have certain general professional skills, productivity, leadership, um, collaboration, working, testing, customer service. All of those matter for any job you're in because you're a service provider. You're rendering services to a customer. Hello. Okay. So if they see qualities, especially with the exact keywords, you could put those in your other job and it's like, oh shit, they operate like this in their other job too. Okay. And they match exactly with what we want. Okay. Okay. They might say, "Oh, well, I like that. I like that sales experience because it matches." If you have keywords in there that don't stand out to Apple, but stand out to NVIDIA, then Apple might view that as a lens of, "Oh, okay, I don't know why they have the sales experience there. Like, I don't care about that. It's weird, you know?" Versus, "Oh, shoot, you push cutting edge stuff. You for in at Target. You do freaking man, why do I keep pulling up the wrong freaking thing? Okay. You do you know, you do yeah, I can't find the job thing, but whatever. Okay. Innovation, whatever. Those keywords type of stuff. You don't need to use those exact keywords, but things that speak to that, right? Because it aligns with their overall company philosophy of the culture. You're speaking to the culture now. So now it's you gave them the cake. They want the cake. Now you got some cherries in the flavors that they like. They didn't ask for cherries. It's not relevant. We don't care about cherries. But your cherry is the cherry is cherry flavored. It's chocolate flavored. Okay, okay. We like chocolate over here. Okay, okay, okay. All right. So that's how you can start to stand out. So now when they look at the resumes, like, okay, this one has a bit of they have chocolate cherries, they have blueberries on the cake. They all have the cake, but this one's got the strawberries. Okay. Hiring manager, okay, we like people with a bit more sales experience in addition to the required things. And now what they're doing is they're trying to figure out, okay, where can we categorize you if you were to be hired? What vertical possibilities do you have? What horizontal possibilities do you have? How would you align better with this part of the team and that part of the team? And they try to narrow things down a bit more. We only have budget and time to interview 10 of these 50 people. Ooh. Then you still hear back, oh, we decided to go ahead with other applicants. It's competition and your pitch. It's nothing to do with you. It's not personal. They need a problem solved. A problem that's so painful they're willing to spend 250K on it a year or 160K or 75K. That's still a lot of money. Me, I'm going to go freaking get a bag of potato chips, a vinegar potato chips. If it has lime and vinegar, I don't want it. Says nothing. That's nothing bad about the company that made it. Just the offer wasn't right. I wasn't in the mood at that time. So you can't take these things personally. It's just the pitch, okay? It has nothing to do with you and your capabilities. How do you stand out from other? And now, of course, unless you only have 50% of what the job has in terms of experience and skill, and it's like, well, I mean, why are you applying to their job? Like their pitch isn't, it's still nothing to do, but if you could only pitch, if somebody has the best pitch or the best pitches and all the best pitches, like 10 of them, and you reach and your pitch reached 15, then you can't fault them for that. It's not a wise business. Here's another thing I want to talk about. I'm not going to be long on this. The hiring manager, and I've been in situations like this before where you could make the hiring manager look bad. The hiring manager has family to feed. They've spent years to work their way up to where they're at, or they got pulled in from another company with a better offer. Do you think they're going to jeopardize their reputation and their judgment By taking a chance on anything that's less than exactly what the company needs at that time and what the company wants and at the right budget, oh, they're going to be getting shit if they make the wrong decision. I've experienced that. I'm not talking about the hiring side. I'm talking about the employee side. Yes. Kershmaki? What? What do you mean? Yeah. I was lazy one of my jobs. I had all the skills and capabilities, but the hiring manager said, "Man, you're making me look bad. When are you gonna get that board done? When are you gonna, like, what's up?" I was burnt out. I had all the skills. I had personal things I was going through. I couldn't be as productive as I needed to be, even though even though I was dead set honest, like, oh yeah, I totally would do that. I was serious about that, but I could not. I was like, holy shit. I told him, man, yo, you may need to replace me in a month because this stuff is not getting out. As a service provider, I told him, fire me, okay? Sure enough, they did because I saw the problem. It was not ethical, okay? So, what's your best tips for freshly university graduates? Hopefully, you have internships and experience, or you may, or find a mentor to learn under. Get the skills you need to get. Unfortunately, most universities don't give you the practical industry skills you need for what companies are looking for at the level that the companies need it. Okay. You have to, but luckily books are out, for people who have been in the industry and still are, for whatever skill you're trying to get skilled up in. There's Udemy courses now. I published the first PCB design course on Udemy, right? Robert Faranik published the first public PCB design course on the web, as far as I could tell, because I searched for months back in 2012 to 2013, and I couldn't find anything. But Craig Missner's 2009 book was out and his 2008 book on Harvard design. Okay. So read books. I know you're already studying 6 days a week, hopefully. um, fresh university graduates, uh, haul ass like hell to get those books that are on Amazon that are recommended by professionals on Reddit and do the things in there, art of electronics, the programming. You only need a couple books because a lot of them don't read them, and take some Udemy courses. And oh well, Udemy is not professional course. It's very uh, uh, rudiment. It's very no, I can't. I have to watch courses on Coursera. This is the proper way. Okay, do what you got to do. I know I got real skills from some Udemy courses that I couldn't get in computer science. Hello. You want to get the job or you want to be jobless? Do what you got to do. Oftentimes, the universities don't have it, what you need for industry, at the level you need it for industry. So hopefully you got a job. It would be on a case by case basis. I have literally gotten multiple university students who are clamoring for jobs. A lot of the times it wasn't their resume. The university students nowadays, they got some skills. They have skills. I'm like, shoot. Fathawi, Fathawi. I coached Fathawi. It was one project he needed to do. It was the constraint management. The job needed someone who really knew their stuff in constraint management, not high-speed digital design. They just wanted to know, hey, are you going to screw up this board? Or do you know how to use the constraint manager? Of course, not worded that way. Basically, the way it was worded was we have senior supervisor engineers who know what they're doing. They'll tell you exactly what to do. We don't expect you to do high speed. Can you manage the constraint manager in OrCAD constraint manager? And can you do it very well? And for design for manufacturing, that's all we need you to do and have a bachelor's degree. So we hammered in on that for 2 hours and he studied and he did his project two out of the six projects in the program. That's Craig. That's chapter 8 or 7 of Craig Mister's book. That's all you got to do. And he got hired. Juniper Networks. Okay. Uh, Temiskin at Stanford University. Hard time getting jobs. New graduate. master student. Fatawi was got his bachelor's, exceptional. But Temeskin got his master's, exceptional. I look at, he said he had an interview in a few days. I was like, what? When I was working on his LinkedIn, I said, okay, well, I said, let me look at your presentation. He said, oh yeah, I need to do present. I looked at the presentation. I'm like, yo, okay, from what you told me you did, and from what I know, I see underlying. I'm not even mechanical engineering. This presentation, this presentation is gonna shoot you in the foot. Okay, it was a communication thing. Okay, so we redid his presentation because I happen to be very good at technical presentations. Okay, at IEEE conferences and such. Um, we reworked that thing twice and he presented and I'm like, okay, I know he's going to do a lot better in the interview. Um, and so we kept going on with the plan. I told him, don't get disappointed if you don't get the offer, whatever. It was a bang up job, blah, blah, blah. And we did what we could. He said, okay. 2 days later, he said, oh, Kirsch, by the way, I got an offer. And I'm like, get the, how am I this good? Okay. Yeah, because I struggled for 8 years. Okay. So now, um, uh, if I could get a job, y'all can. And I'm an entrepreneur who made a living from double E. I'm not a true double E. I just happen to be good at math and physics. Y'all are the double E's. Y'all are the MVP. So if I can do it, you can do it. You just need some copywriting and skills. Now, if your skills fall short, don't apply for that job, of course. All right. Um, let's see if I tackled. I think I tackled the majority of the questions. And I don't know why I minimize Zoom. This thing goes all over the place. Oh, I think I can maximize it. There we go. What? That still pull up another window? What is going on with the Zoom or maximize? What? Where's the chat? Okay, there we go. Jesus. How can I tailor my resume to match? We don't tailor. So how do you stand out from other applicants? You stand out by putting aligned words and verbiage in your non-relevant job descriptions. You're still relevant if it's electrical engineer, sales, whatever. You're still a service professional. Okay? They want service professionals. So it can still be relevant. Apple though, if it's not too big a gap, leave it off the resume. Okay, for specific, if the role is very specific. All right. Um, education, and then as far as education, unless research is important to the role, don't put it. I mean, you don't have to put it. You could put it as a nice cherry on top as long as you align. It doesn't hurt either way, honestly. It doesn't matter as long as you align. Get their eyes to the bottom of this. Give them a reason to get the bottom of this sales pitch. This is a sales document, a sales letter, and then education at the bottom. Well, Kirsch, I usually put education at the top. The recommendation is, but what advice do I follow? The advice you follow is what the customer wants. Do they say at the top must have bachelor's or master's in such and such at the top? Yeah, they list it, but it's at the bottom. So put it at the bottom. Okay. Then they'll see, okay, they'll go all the way down like, holy crap, this person fits exactly. Okay, well, let's check their education. Let's check their education. Okay, master's, bachelor's. Cool, cool, cool. Don't put the GPA on there. Don't give a reason to shoot yourself in the foot. You might get, honestly, certain companies, y'all know how double E's could be. There's a lot of them could be, oh, oh, okay, never mind. Y'all know how people can be, right? And they may be like, oh, well, they got a 2.8. Ew, ick. Get this resume out of here. 3.2. Ew. You're not at least a 3.7. Don't give them reasons to get rid of your resume. So don't leave that. Did they ask for a 3.7 GPA? Then don't put your GPA on there. Okay. Now, don't feel like I'm talking down to you. I'm just saying, I've coached multiple people on and have gotten them all hired. Okay. Well, they've gotten themselves hired because they did the work. You're welcome. And that's just the resume, okay? I was gonna cover the entire process, like the quick bam bam, thank you, man, some things. But if you have the resume dialed in, this is the most important part. If you have the resume dialed in to align with the client, you will have all you need is attention now, and that's the LinkedIn. I'll have to do another session, maybe sometime next week or whatever, where we talk about the LinkedIn that you can use the LinkedIn and websites to attract the ideal client. And it's still an alignment strategy, but there's a whole bunch of different tactics where basically you target four, five, maybe six even job descriptions, and you use search engine optimization techniques, okay, in addition to messaging and copy to get them attracted to you for what they're searching. So don't put what you want on your profile. If you look at my profile now, knowing this, it's very methodically thought out. When you start looking at those keywords, you see, oh, wait a second. These keywords look like the keywords from job descriptions. Hello. And then the kinds of recruiters and jobs that I want to recruit me for, what are the recruiters doing? The engineers are busy working. The recruiters are busy trying to search, okay, let me type this keyword in. Okay, let me copy paste these keywords and see what gets pulled up. Or they may use some sophisticated method, but they still have the cheat sheet. They say, okay, let me use these. Why would I use different words? I'm not an engineer. Like, well, why would I do that? So now they're pushing stuff into LinkedIn. LinkedIn pulled you, the more your keywords match with their keywords that they're searching for, not what you would put. No, no, don't do that. Now LinkedIn is pulling you up a little bit more. You're on page 500. You're on page the next search, you're on page 300. The next search, you're on page 400. The next search, you're on page 100. The next search, you're on page, and they're searching and searching and searching. And then LinkedIn is like, wait, hold up. This person keeps getting pulled up. Their profile keeps getting pulled up for these jobs. So like, put them to the front page. And then then more and more recruiters start seeing you more and more and more, and it's a self-fulfilling whatever the heck because it's been trained on the right keywords that you got pulled for. But you wouldn't get pulled for those keywords if you weren't listening to the job description. So it's not about your resume. We don't tailor anything. There's nothing to tailor because it's about the customer. We create the profile from three different jobs or more for LinkedIn, SEO that shit, to create the ideal LinkedIn profile for the jobs we want. Do it for the current jobs you have. Do it for previous role you had, something so you could fall back onto something. And do it, well, maybe not previous. Okay, do it for your current job you have, current job you want to, I mean, new future job you enroll you want to ascend to. So something senior level as you work toward that. So you start getting pulled up for senior because you want to increase your chances. Fewer and fewer people are going to be able to hit the senior. So the senior level people when they look for senior levels, they're going to start pulling you up more. It's like, you keep getting pulled up for senior. Okay, let's interview them. And then you'd be like, well, why am I getting a senior? Like, why are you? You're like, well, you kept getting pulled up. We don't have as many people, so, we just want to see what you got up on that. What kind of skills you got, right? You want to get attention. It's not about authenticity. Okay, it is about authenticity. That's all. We want attention. That's the LinkedIn. That's the YouTube SEO, getting noticed, getting pulled up strategy for multiple jobs. Okay. Why multiple jobs, Kirsch? And also, why different jobs? Why Python? Why hardware? Why embedded? Why key terms? Why? Because you want to get pulled up in multiple different ways, many chances as possible, that's still adjacent to the role you have now and the roles you're looking for. And then you'll find that if it's adjacent and related, there's enough overlap, you get pulled up for those as well. Now you're getting pulled up more often. Then you start getting recommended. And then you might get recommended to a recruiter who's looking for a Python engineer role. And they're like, and then you get recommended, and it's like, oh, actually, we need a hardware person too. So, and right? So the algorithm's putting in work for you. Well, Kirsch, why LinkedIn? Why not career? Do the same strategy on everything. You want as many chances as possible. Why are we doing this, Kirsch? Well, it's about who you know, isn't it? It is about who you know, but LinkedIn works. Online stuff works. Websites work clearly because you got to put something in there. Oh, well, I got to know the person who made the website and made the. Yeah, that would help, but yeah, SEO matters. Like, take advantage of it. That's what I'm saying. Take advantage of your connections, take advantage of the algorithm, take advantage of all the things that are out there, take advantage of SEO. Give yourself every chance. What this does is it flips the game to where for every 5, 10 minutes you're spending looking for recruiters, still do that. But now you have 40 recruiters looking for you within every minute. You can't outwork that. Now you're giving yourself you're welcome on. I agree with that. LinkedIn really works. He knows what's up. That's the man with the plan right there. On. Okay, thank you. And all the recruiters are working on your behalf, hunting to find you because you SEO'd that thing properly on LinkedIn. Because you bossed up. And you're like, no, we got to get our product out there. We got to get some pitches out there. We got to be in business. So we got to get attention. So how are we going to do that? We reach out, but that's a lot of work. We want people coming into us too. This is the LinkedIn Lighthouse method. Okay. You put anyway, you get the idea. And then you might get a call. You may get a message. They may want, and they're going to want to see your resume. Because you did your resume and you crafted it so well. And here's the thing, when they ask for the resume, you don't send them a generic resume. They usually give you 24 hours, maybe a little bit more time and then you could quickly with AI and I mean, come on. You look at the job, pick the top six keywords. Your stuff overlaps for the most part anyway. Put those top six keywords, use my formula, apply that manually. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. You spend 30 minutes on that. Now here's what happens. The recruiter, a human is directly telling you, give me your shit. Where's the ATS? The ATS is irrelevant because the recruiter now has your resume. That's when you tailor. No, no, sorry. I made a mistake. That's not when you tailor. That's when you craft the resume. That's when you reverse engineer it. They brought the cheat sheet to you. Yes. Okay. And then you craft that and you send it to them. And they're like, holy crap, this is amazing. Let's give that person a call. And now the resume has gotten you to the call. Now the call, okay, the LinkedIn has gotten them to you. The conversation, the LinkedIn has gotten the conversation. The conversation has gotten the resume. The resume, once you craft that, gets you the call. The call, you align with what they care about. You're still using the same cheat sheet, the job description. You keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing it. And they say, man, we got to interview this person, this guy or this lady. Then they interview you and they ask you some questions. And they ask you in the moment stuff you can't just make up on the spot because you're in person or whatever. And they say, what happens? That's when you use the star law method. The star law method, you got to practice for 3 to 5, minimum three, ideally five, back of the pocket stories that you practiced and rehearsed that you have down to a T for that specific job. There's a whole strategy to that. I won't even get into that. Okay. Once you practice and rehearse that, then you can go on autopilot. The Starlaw method was that situation, task, act, result. Now, here's the secret. The law of the Starlaw method overcomes negative experiences. Now you can listen. When I did this at ERCOT, I felt like a G. They tell me, then they ask you these bullshit questions like, oh, what's your greatest weakness? Or they don't really ask that anymore, to be honest. But if they ask some question that they're used to asking that kind of puts you in a position of, oh, tell us about a time where things maybe didn't go so well, or they give you an impossible situation. They're gonna they're gonna see if they're gonna test you in some things. What the law does is um you say the result. What if the result was bad? Okay, you make that up with the lesson learned, that's L, and how you apply what you learned to today, okay? And experiences since the not so great result. Now, any good situation, is amplified better, and any not so good situation is still shows growth and wisdom. Who doesn't want that? That's how you get through any bullshit questions they ask you or whatever. Okay. You always come off as a G. Okay. Because you're learning and growing. They'll be like, oh, this person learned subconsciously, right? You get through that interview. And as long as you have the skills, the technical skills, you use the Starla method for pretty much anything. Oh, why would you rehearse? Oh, Kirsch, what do I have to rehearse? I kind of, you have to rehearse. Why? Because once you do, oh, anytime, by the way, I've rehearsed the Starla method with stories, I've always gotten an offer. I got two off from a call to an offer I got in a week for two jobs. The first recruiter didn't believe me. He's like, no, you had it in the back pocket the whole time. He actually blackballed me. That company's never going to call me again. That same recruiter. He told me that because that's impossible. You're bullshitting me. I tell him, I swear. I had a I had a phone call and an offer in 5 days after I already okay. Um, and that's how I ended up at SunPower. So the the Starla method, rehearsing that, it gives you peace of mind and calms your nerve. I just talked to someone who you've been making 160K 6 years ago, and she admitted that she gets nervous sometimes, you know, spilling out the information. You don't have to. There's even another shit. I'm just y'all are on here. I don't know why y'all are still here. Y'all got stuff to do. Okay. All right. So, but since you're here, I'm gonna give you some more tea. Okay. The the when you're nervous, when you're nervous and you practice and rehearse so much, that's what calms your nerve. It's you're confident in your storytelling. Okay. The rehearsal gives you the confidence, and then that gives you the opportunity to twist and innovate and change and get into the nuances of things and skip over the story because you know it so well. And that confidence, when there's another thing. When a customer sees that you are confident, you're like, oh, well, shit, they've been there, done that. There's a feeling. Then you get to the interview. One person had all the skills, the other person had all the skills, or 80% or 90%. And it's like, but man, I like this guy or lady. I like this person. Man, shoot. Well, put him in the second, put him in the third interview. Send him, man, shortlist this resume. Man, we just, hey, they're confident too, right? You have the opportunity when you're nervous and you're thinking, you don't have time or opportunity to joke and play and be charismatic and be who you truly are and fun loving and carefree because you're worried. There's too much emotions up in your mind. You're angry about the thing that you forgot. You're anxious. Yes. That's why practice gets all those emotions out of your head. So now you can access your higher self. And when they see your higher self, who can deny you? Right? Okay. And then if it still doesn't work out, then the only option, this is where you want to get to such great alignment, removing all the roadblocks. You want to get to such great alignment that even if you don't get past the second, even if you don't ace the second technical interview or whatever, they still liked you. They're like, man, that's a good candidate. Apply for the next role. We like this person, Okay. Even if you make it past the second interview and you ace it, if you didn't make it to the third final interview for formality purposes, then the person who won must have been the best option. And how can you fault the customer for that, for choosing the absolute best? Someone who's been doing it for 20, for 10 years versus two. Business is business, baby. Okay. You don't hate the game. I mean, you could hate the game, but still play. Okay. Play to win. And you'll win. If you keep playing, you'll win. Okay. Right. So, that's pretty much the rundown. There's also things for the offer. I've given you the secrets. I'd say about 30%. No, not 30. I'd say about 80% as far as the general overall strategy, the secrets that I share with my one-on-one clients that get them hired. It's a new set of skills that are learned: communication, confidence, removing mental blocks, psychology, entrepreneurship, business, copywriting, all that stuff, SEO. That's the tail end of what's in the Harvard design program. All right. That's why it's just so expensive. Okay. Um, there's also a technique with the offer. I won't get into that. I won't spill all the tea now, but it's certain techniques on how when you get an offer that's not quite where you want it. Shoot, I said I'll give you the tea, so whatever. It's very short. One technique I learned from one of my students. I love this one. When the offers, let's say, is 10,000 less than what you want to be, instead of coming with the, oh, well, actually, the market rate is you're a customer service provider, right? You're a business person. You say, man, now I learned this from him. He's smooth with it. He said, man, this is looking good. I like this 120. I like this 110. I like this 110K offer. I would say, yeah, I definitely like it. If this were 120K, I don't think I would leave the lab. Okay. All right. So what does this say? This communicates that I'm willing to invest 150K. I'm willing to give you, now you don't have to deliver on this. It's okay. But you want to, the purpose of the offer stage, if you even bother to negotiate, right? Sometimes you don't need to or want to, and you don't have to. If you, at the negotiation phase, the purpose is to get in your foot in the door. All right. Get that paycheck. Okay. If it's a 10K discrepancy and you know you could do, I mean, if it's 20K, yeah, you might want to, okay, investigate that. But if it's 10K, you can be like, but you know the market is 120, 125, and it's 110, it's like, oh, I mean, can they, you say, the fact that you're willing, alignment again. I'm willing to invest 160K worth of effort. And they're like, oh shit, okay, well, we did budget for, having an extra 10K to put in, to line my pocket with. Okay, okay. We want, because you've aligned so much. It's like, man, this is exactly what we're looking for. Let's take the 10K out of the 20K, 25K extra that we have, and then slide it that way. Since you've shown that you are willing to invest more than what we're willing to pay for. It's a bit disproportionate. You're really solving a 500,000 to $1.2 million problem. But yeah, we are this far along. Here's the extra 10K because you're willing to invest more. Because the thing is, they're not going to give someone something to someone who comes off as entitled. You still possibly have a back pocket competitor who is happy to take the 110. Okay? You could, I'm not saying take lowball offers. I'm just saying sweeten the pot if you want to get more money. It's not always the case, but for at least 50% of the time, you kind of get what you give, right? Get some of what you give. So sweeten the pot. You don't have to fully deliver on it. Okay. Um, Sweeten the pot. We'll call it the sweeten the pot technique to get the sale and get that extra 10K, that extra 5K or whatever. Okay, so that is the T. Um, that's it. I'll send you the recording. I should charge for the recording. Anyway, since y'all stayed today, I'll charge for future recordings. Y'all the first cohort. Thank you so much for spending time with me this afternoon. Y'all have a good one. I'll send you a recording. Anyone else who didn't attend can pay for the recording. Don't share this recording, okay? I'm gonna put a copyright notice on it. All right? I'm gonna come after you. Probably not. I'm too lazy for that. All right. All right. You're welcome, Yuri. Be warned, though. You're welcome. Thank you. Oh, if you want any done for you services done, LinkedIn optimization, resume redo, using my methods, okay? 'Cause I didn't give you everything now, but I gave you the majority of it. Then reach out to me. It's a lot easier. I can do it for you for a fee. And yeah, and a review. I'll lower the fee by a good bit for a review because I want feedback and all that stuff. And also, I mean, I already have feedback. I'm trying to get these coins too, okay? I'm a businessman at the end of the day. All right. You all have a good one. Be easy.